Hello and welcome to MySecurityTV and our Tech and Sec Weekly. My name is Chris Cubbage. I'm the Executive Editor with MySecurity Media, and today we're looking at some quite innovative research and new products coming out for the security sector from Australian universities. First up, Let There Be Light, a new tech to revolutionise night vision, and I've got Professor Dragomir Neshev, who is a Professor of Physics at the Australian National University and is also the Director at the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Transformative Meta-Optical Systems, or TMOS. He does have some slides to share, so this will be a very interesting session, particularly if you're in anything to do with optics, night vision, or even the front line, but also on video systems as well. This looks like it has a range of applications. And let's bring on our guest, first guest for the morning, Professor Dragomir Neshev, Professor of Physics from the Australian National University. Dragomir, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome.
Very good. Night vision, and we had quite a good 10-minute pre-session interview, so I'm looking forward to this particular session, and really pretty much handing it over to you. You've come out with a piece of film that can create night vision capability on glasses, or it can be applied to even a CCTV camera. Maybe introduce us to TMOS, the Transformative Meta-Optical Systems. I like it. And that must have helped getting the funding when you went for the Research Centre funding, but introduce us to TMOS and your particular role there as Director.
Thank you. So absolutely. So TMOS is a new Centre of Excellence funded by the Australian Research Council. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Centres of Excellence, that is the elite program of the Australian government for strategic research in areas where Australia wants to make an impact. And we just started at the beginning of this year. And what the Centre wants to develop is a new type of optical technologies that have functionalities well beyond what is possible today. One of the examples is what we will talk today here about the night vision in ultra-thin film that can be applied even on, hopefully one day, on spectacles.
Well, one question comes to mind. How many researchers do you have there? What's the sort of the broad scope of research that you're doing, and maybe then that'll allow us to see where this one fits in.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So the Centre is a partnership between 5 universities. So Australian National University, University of Melbourne, University of University of Western Australia, and RMIT and UTS in Sydney.
Right.
So we have about 15 researchers, 15 chief investigators, and also a broad team, nearly 100 early career researchers and students. And the Centre aims at applying nanotechnology into the new generation of optics. And we have 3 main teams. One is on light generation, light manipulation, such as lenses, holograms, and the last one is on detection. But perhaps the things that fit most closely to security is the infrared vision and the possibility to see what is invisible to our eyes. And with this, we have a very broad program from the University of Melbourne, ANU, and University of Western Australia.
So you must be doing a lot in lasers. We have covered off on optics and lasers in optical fibre networks and that type of thing. So this one does look like it's slightly different. Maybe just talk us back, and you've got some slides to share, and no doubt the audience is like, okay, let us know what this is. So maybe introduce us to this research.
I'll tell you, of course, but just add also when you mentioned lasers, of course, we have a lot of lasers, and one of the big things is the lasers, which are very small, tiny lasers, like 1,000 lasers you can fit on a human hair, basically, so nano-type lasers. That's another very big part where we want to push in the Centre for generation of holograms out of your mobile phone. Like,
yeah, nice.
Big display.
Anyway, how far? Well, now you've got my attention. I'm interested in that. We'll definitely be having you back, Dragomir. But how far away is that type of technology?
So that's something that's really hard to predict. We do have the ingredients, so the single nano lasers are working, but making an array of a high definition display of nano lasers, that's something that beyond what we can imagine. Very, very difficult. But we hope by the end of the center, which is 7 years from now, that we will have some prototypes also on this technology.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, 7 years is plenty of time. We'll have you back on before then. So look, you do have some slides to share, and I think let's start talking about some of this technology.
Yeah, I wanted to share a few slides with regards to our night vision technology and how this compared to what is existing. So for those of you who have used some of these, this is an example of a current night vision binocular. And the issue with the current technology is that this is sitting usually on the head, and it's fairly heavy, so over a kilogram. Some of the more high quality devices. So it has a kind of severe impact if you're in security to wear this a whole day. So it's a fairly bulky, importantly obstructs the normal vision. So once you have this on, you don't see what is in the visible light. So non-transparent, and it's also single color.
Yeah.
So what we have created is a ultra thin film which contains semiconductor nanocrystals. And what these nanocrystals help is to convert, to enhance the light inside the nanocrystal, to convert the color of the light from the infrared to a visible. And what this allows, this conversion happens in a thin film. So you can think this is a film which is 20 times thinner than a glad wrap, and contains inside this crystal. It's fully transparent. It's so thin, like as a glad wrap, you can apply to practically any transparent surface, and also allows a color vision and does not obstruct the usual vision that we have. So the way it works is just going to the next slide, is in contrast to conventional night vision, which takes the infrared and puts it effectively makes it into the electrons, which are amplified and and only then gets detected on a screen. What we do is effectively taking the infrared light and boosting its energy with another laser to convert this infrared light to visible, to be directly observed. And that could happen on a camera, as you said, in a CCTV camera, or could happen also one day directly on the spectacle. So this is kind of what we are inspired. One thing to mention is that we're converting the short wavelength infrared. So for those of you who are familiar, so shortwave infrared is important because at night, even at pitch black, we have this night glow, which is extremely, extremely bright. And so the way it works is we take the infrared image, and for now the first prototype is image this infrared object onto our thin film, then send a pump laser together with the infrared object, and that allows to boost this energy from the infrared to the visible. And then we generate the visible image, which is detected on a camera. So the films that I mentioned, this is an electron microscope image of the film. So it's a polymer similar to a glad wrap, really, with the nanocrystals embedded inside. So you can see here 1 or 2 nanocrystals. It's about 20 times thinner than a conventional glad wrap. So it really can go to any surface. And as I said, it converts the night glow from the at the night, so pitch black night, converts the night glow to the visible. And just to explain a little bit to the audience, maybe going a little bit deeper, please interrupt me if I
go. No, keep going.
Too deep into the technology. But the conventional night vision goggles, what they do, they amplify near infrared light, so something that is up to 1 micron pretty much of wavelength. And in this case, the effective scene, or the effective illumination in this case, is very much dependent on what on the ambient light from the moon or from the sky. So it actually really changes if you have the altitude that you are, or how much bright the moon is on that day. So it can change over 3 orders of magnitude, really.
So this is still sub-lux, so 0 lux and below, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And contrast in the night glow, this is effectively a scattering from the sky, pretty much constant scattering. and it's this area here around 1.5, 1.6 microns, and we have so much light there, even for our eyes that looks pitch black. We have light which you can only compare, like I mean, just for comparison, what you will see if you have a perfectly full moon with a clear sky. So this is what we have there, and this is practically independent on the conditions or on where you are, what altitude you are on the screen. So this is this importance of the night glow, and that's why a lot of the night vision type technologies are aiming to detect this night glow. And this is what we have done. So this, again, this is a similar image of the of our nanofilms, and this is a nanofilm applied on a piece of glass, and you can see how transparent this is. Basically, once we add this laser that we have, additional laser, we can convert the shortwave infrared to visible. These are some of the images of the conversion as an example. So we have also in the lab, we have made images also with infrared cameras. So these are in-gas indium gallium arsenide cameras. They cost about $20,000-$30,000, so quite expensive. And some of the kind of top-end night vision goggles, they do implement such technologies, but they're extremely expensive and even more bulky than the conventional one. So we have taken such an image and we have applied the nanocrystal only in a small area. So just to make a comparison, so you see the infrared light is seen here in the grayscale. Then we go with this light through our nanocrystal type layer that contains the nanocrystal. So that's not up to scale, but it just illustrates the nanocrystals in the layer. And once this is interacting, we see on a conventional camera, so this is pretty much a mobile phone type camera, we see this green light that is generated. And we use a typical example of a Siemens star. So this is a typical target that is used in testing the resolution and the conversion. We can see the images that are generated out of these stars, out of these Siemens stars directly into the infrared. So this is what we have done. So we just achieved these milestones where we have demonstrated this infrared imaging and the conversion. And so we are now at a pretty much in an open field, like where to take this technology next, and very happy.
Where do you fit here, Dragomir?
So this is our market kind of diagram where we want to.
So you can go into all of this.
So we can go to all of this, and what this means is the market value, so how much effectively the market is worth, and the difficulties in achieving that market.
Yeah.
So
look, we've got.
Just to be absolutely honest, we are down here in the bottom corner, and we want to go all the way up. But we do want to understand kind of what the business needs are. So in this stage of the development of technology, we do need to understand how the business sees this development and where things really can go. And sometimes as a researcher, we are not aware of particular things which business is thinking. And this is something that on overall we need to change, like these interactions between industry and academia, and improve the links much better. And this is something also what our center really aims to bridge this gap.
Well, I'll throw that out. Well, just in case we do have people watching that are in the visual, we do a lot with video systems. I mentioned CCTV. I sort of classify myself as a CCTV consultant. And, you know, obviously you're dealing with low light level conditions, and although cameras are getting better in low light, but if you can start to apply this retrospectively on cameras and give them night vision. I've got a couple of questions. One is, you mentioned semiconductors in the crystals. Do they require power? You mentioned the laser being applied to boost it. It doesn't require any power?
So the laser is obviously connected to a power, but you can think about it like not sure if you are a biker. I ride a push bike, and I have this 10 watt flashlight which lasts for a couple of hours. So it's pretty much uses the same power that.
So it does require power?
does require power, but it can be battery operated and potentially like much lighter than a conventional technology.
So even if you're thinking you're going to add it to some glasses into the future, the glasses will need a power source.
Would need to have some power source.
Yeah. The other one is, well, that kind of answers my next question, is how long does it last? So if you did apply it to something, how long do those crystals last? Do they have a lifespan?
So the crystals are absolutely robust. So the crystal technology, semiconductor technology, is something that you will also have in your mobile phone. So it is very similar to the chip making of phones, except that we use these crystals for optical means. So they're not electrically connected in any way, and they only interact by light. So they're robust in this case. So the issues that we need to develop is how much the laser that powers up this conversion to visible can last, and that all depends on this efficiency as well. So at the moment we are at a low efficiency of the conversion.
Yeah.
We are working now in the research to reach much higher efficiency, to basically breach over 1,000 times better efficiency. That will also help in this power consumption.
So I take it the crystals are the key aspect here. How do the crystals work? Less crystals, less vision. More crystals, more vision.
Let me go back to this image of the crystals. So so the crystals are spaced sparsely inside the film, so that allows not to obstruct the normal vision. So if you look through it, you don't see any obstruction. But because the infrared light has effectively a longer wavelength, so what these crystals make, they channel this longer wavelength, and they interact very strongly with this,
reflection. I take it. Is it reflection?
Not really. So you can understand this like these crystals are resonators for the light, similar like a glass. I don't have a glass here, but this cup here will resonate to the sound wave. So in a very similar fashion, the nanocrystals resonate with the light wave,
okay,
and capture it inside. And the light intensity inside the crystal is actually 1,000 times higher than what is on the outside. And this is the key in this invention. So
I like it. That's a good way to explain it in terms of sound waves, and it resonates. Does it create the same kind of bright spots that you get in traditional night vision? You know, where you might be looking into the dark and it grabs all that ambient light, and then if you then go looking at spotlights and the like, it can blind you. How does it balance? Do they balance it off and balance that type of light, or do you get the same effect?
Thanks, Chris. So this is very important. So because the conventional kind of amplifiers or intensifiers, what they call, they do blind if you make a flash of light visible or infrared. So what is important here, that in this case, in our case, the light is pretty much linearly transferred, so it doesn't have this saturation or blindness. However, it is so from my experience with talking to companies in this space, it is very important to understand the perception of our brain, how our brain perceives this infrared vision. So because effectively our technology is augmenting the real vision. If there is a bright light, you kind of pretty much just have your normal vision, but it's augmenting this with an infrared. And my understanding is sometimes our brains can get confused of this augmenting. So often companies do additional single processing and using artificial intelligence type technology to translate the infrared vision to something that our brain, it's easier for our brain to understand. So this is one of the aspects that we want to understand further. We have not worked in that direction, but we understand that this could be a potential issue to address.
Well, one of the key aspects is where you're at with this. You mentioned that you've applied for a patent. Have you got your patent, or you just applied?
So we have 2 patents on this. The first patent was granted in US and Australia. This is particularly on the development of the thin films with the nanocrystals. And the second patent is pending for US, European, and Japan and Australia. No, Australia is already accepted the second patent. But we're still pending from US, which is potentially where the biggest market is there. So this is interesting. Yeah. So still trying to kind of not fight, but really to explain this technology to people who are really familiar with the conventional thing. So it's something that is really new, does not exist today on the market, and we are often kind of having these challenges in changing the perception of the people and the patent examiners as well to explain the novelty of this technique.
Because I imagine there are the use of crystals and how they resonate, and both even with sound as well, but I take it also with light. May not be a new thing, but maybe in low light conditions. One of the key aspects that you've got in terms of the challenges for commercialization is, one, the potential size of the market. Maybe take us up to that slide where you've got the market opportunities there, and also the potential partners. Have you, where do you think you've had the most interest? Have you had any interest in this already from sort of defence or those in manufacturing in this field?
Thanks, Chris. So we do talk to, at the moment, with several defense companies, so those in the night vision for defense purposes. And the market is really interesting in this space, and we don't always understand the full complexity of the chain of development of the night vision technologies. But where we are at the moment is, and when we're talking to such defense companies, kind of integrating with the conventional technique. So having our converter integrated with the conventional technique, which does use the intensifier, image intensifier. But what this allows is to extend the range of the vision of the conventional goggles. So because our conversion screen is, our layers are so thin, so they can be immediately slotted in the conventional devices. And the first step of the market is extending this vision or range of vision. And the fact that that we have this additional laser that can be turned on and off allows to really augment properly in a conventional night vision device, to augment properly these two spectral ranges of the night vision. And just on this side, I want to make one analogy. So probably most of you use such kind of mobile phones, and the Apple at least has the Face ID, which does use a laser, which is 10-watt laser. So, and indeed augment this visible camera plus the infrared camera of this 10-watt laser for Face ID. So it's really compatible to this augmenting with the conventional technologies. So this is the first market. And of course, as I'm a science fiction freak, and you probably watching the latest Mission Impossible, but that was
or Broken Mirror. Broken Mirror comes to mind.
Or pressing your glasses, and then you start immediately enabling your night vision. So this is something that inspires me, at least.
I've got a question just on that. You mentioned on glasses, but given it's a power source, do you find there's an opportunity there for, say, contact lenses, and then using the human sort of electricity that we naturally have, if it's only on a contact lens, do you think it's capable of that?
One day, but it's because when we implement new technology, you have to be really careful in terms of safety. And one of the biggest questions that comes when we talk to industry, well, you do have this powerful laser, can this somehow impact or be detrimental to the vision if somebody breaks?
It comes directly into the retina, yeah.
So if the glass breaks, would that
and the crystals, yeah.
And the crystal, exactly. So this film film integrity is decreased, would that
What's
would this light go to the eye and blind the person?
what's the source of the crystals?
So the crystals that we use at the moment are based on aluminum gallium arsenide. So this is a technology, as I said, is used in the mobile phone, so it's pretty conventional in terms of fabrication, and also in this thin film, so thin film kind of technology. So they use also as a kind of high efficiency solar cells in space.
So they're readily available.
Well, I wouldn't say readily, but the technology is established how to fabricate it. However, one of the disadvantages that the current crystals that we use have is that they do absorb part of the light that is being converted, the green light that we see. So we're trying to move to other type technologies, and we're looking at other type of nanocrystals. So just for sake of completeness, we'll mention this: a gallium phosphide and gallium nitride type technologies. And gallium nitride is what is used for blue LEDs. So again, there is a good good type of industry there that is that knows how to process it. We're engaging also with these market people to do the supply chain of the technology. That is very important as well for us.
Well, very good. Look, fascinating, and just conscious of time now. But what is your call to action? You know, are you open to inquiries from industry seeing this video and thinking, okay, that could apply to us? We had X-Tech on, I think last week or the week before. They're a defence robotics company, and I imagine if you're in the CCTV market, we're quite strong with contacts there. So, what would be your call to action?
That is indeed our call of action, Chris. So we do want to engage with these companies to understand how the business develop and to push the technology in the direction that would make this impactful to our society.
Very good. Well, look, we've got a video systems and analytics series coming up. I think I'll keep you in mind for that, at least even just talking about how light works and how you can manipulate light. It's a very interesting piece of research that you're doing there in terms of that context. So, look, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go and backhand, but we were joined by Professor Dragomir Neshev, Professor of Physics, Australian National University, and the Director of the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Transformative Meta-Optical Systems, or TMOS. Dragomir, thank you so much for your time, and I'll put you backstage. Look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you.